is your basic poof technique. We're using a 24-inch wreath, and if you'll notice on the 24-inch wreath, the widest metal ring measures 15 inches across. The center one is about 12. But with the addition of products, mesh, ribbons, and so forth, you'll wind up with a finished wreath that measures anywhere from 28 to 30 inches. This is a 21-inch wide mesh, and there's 10 yards on the roll. We're going to start. You can just kind of fluff out your twist on your wreath. This is a pencil wreath. And we're going to start on the inside. It doesn't really matter where you start, but we're just going to pick a twist and start on the inside. We're going to grasp the mesh about 3 inches from the end, and you can just let that roll fall off in the floor where you can handle it easy, and just pinch that up, open a twist, and lay the mesh down in the twist and just give it a couple of turns. Now, if this was the only thing we were going to put on this wreath, we would go ahead and give it 3 or 4 turns, but since we're going to be adding additional products, we're just going to give it a couple of turns for right now. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to secure that raw end of that mesh before we go any further, just so it'll be easier for you to see. But you can just kind of take that in and kind of smooth it together and bring it down to your work wreath. Take a zip tie, this is just a large zip tie, and go around that loose end, secure it with that zip tie, and that way that piece of end and mesh won't pop out in your wreath. And just be sure and clip the end of your zip tie with wire cutters. Don't use your scissors because it'll dull them. To make our first poof, we're going to measure. This is my measuring stick. I don't know about you, but my grandkids, I can't keep a measuring stick. So this is just a core from a mesh roll, and I've got a 14-inch mark. And I'm going to measure 14 inches and just gather that mesh up, kind of put my hand under there to poof it out a little bit. And I'm going to go to the next twist, secure it, give it a couple of turns. And then measure and just keep working all the way around the wreath. We'll have a couple of yards left over, and we tried doing the math to make the poofs a little larger so you didn't have any mesh left over, but it turned out that the poofs were a little too floppy, so we didn't like that, so we just stick to 14 inches. Oh, well, I had a short end. Sometimes your mesh will happen like that. You'll have a roll of mesh that's put together with 2 pieces, but that's okay. This is going to work out all right. We'll just have another little short end that we'll need to secure. We'll just start our mesh again, just about 3 inches from the end. And where I had to finish with that short end, I'll just open that twist back up, lay my mesh on top of that, and then re-secure it. Now, before I go any farther, I'm going to go ahead and secure those loose ends just to get them out of my way. I'm just going to kind of wrap them together there and just take a zip tie. And you can secure them to the first ring or the inner ring, whichever's most convenient for you. I'm going to attach this to the second ring on the wreath. Now, I've worked almost all the way around my wreath, and I'm back to where I started. And this will be the last poof on this inner ring. So I'm going to go ahead and get my measurement, make my poof, and then I'm going to open up that twist. This is the very first one where I started. I'm going to open up that twist, make sure that first poof stays in place, and then I'm going to lay the second one down. And then secure that twist back and hold both of them. So now I've gone all the way around my inner ring, and I'm going to drop down to my outer ring. So I'm going to take my mesh and just kind of smooth it down, and I'm going to come down to the closest twist. I'm going to open that twist and just secure it, and that will be my starting point for my outer poofs on my outer ring. I'm going to make those the same size, 14 inches. Okay, now we're down to making our last poof. On this roll, we had just about enough mesh. We didn't have a lot extra, so that's good. We don't have, that's fine. We're going to measure, get that last poof. So we only were left with about 12 inches or so on this roll. So go to that first twist where you secured your mesh down, and then we're going to open that, make sure that mesh stays in place, and then lay this last poof right on top of that and re-secure it. Now, I had about 12 inches left over, so I'm just going to flip my wreath over. I'm just going to cut that off to about 4 or 5 inches. And then I'm going to secure that raw end to the work wreath frame. I'm just going to kind of smooth it down and work it around one of the metal rings. And just slip this zip tie on it to hold that loose end. Just push your poofs out to the front. course, you may want to hang it on the wall to look at it to kind of make sure you have your poofs all about the same size. You can just work your hands in there and fluff it out. If you need to make any adjustments in it, you can. But that's your basic poof technique. With this mesh, right now the wreath already measures 28 inches in width, and it's about 9 or 10 inches in depth.